It's completely bogus. I hate this. I hate this current generation of gaming, and I think this is why we're seeing so many people turn their backs on it. Is gosh, we're leaving a lot of money on the table by letting people resell their games.
Do something with it.
Let's make sure they can't resell their games. You buy that game, that's it. That's basically you're buying
an owner of a physical store. I'm guessing that's probably how you get
case
most
for
of your
a digital
inventory.
game, and you
So
can't
that-
transfer
I
the digital
still go out
game. You
hunting,
can't sell your digital game
but
to somebody
obviously
else.
owning a
That's
store, you
that's
get
where they're going with
the-
all of it.
You know,
I mean, in many ways, it literally isn't, because a lot of that stuff that originally made Destiny 2 what it was, you know, like the entire Red War storyline, all that is gone. It's been removed from the game entirely, and now a lot of that content that was originally part of the game, including stuff like the first 3 expansions, stuff that people actually, you know, paid for, has been removed and is slowly being drip fed back to players to kind of purchase all over again, only this time they're charging for every little thing and making it more expensive. First, it launched as a PC title that mostly behaved like you'd expect, a Mario Kart-like game, but it switched to mobile, and then the menus got simplified. Eventually, they started splitting the seasons into not just 2 passes, but 3. So if you wanted everything, you now had to buy 3 golden passes. When the game originally launched, there was 1 pass, and you could buy it with in-game currency. Now there were 3.
Concord failed on both counts, and then some, which its creators paid for dearly. This is the tragedy of Concord.
Set your expectations low and prepare to be disappointed.
I mean, this right here is a prime example of getting less for more money, right? This all-new generation Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro will cost you dang near $70,000, $67,000, $68,000. And that was before a lot of greedy dealerships were trying to charge markups on top of that MSRP. The Toyota Tundra, the Toyota Tacoma, the new Toyota Land Cruiser, Sequoia, these are all, and 4Runner, they're the prime examples of quality going down and price tags going up. You get less of a motor, more complexities to it. They're overdone and overpriced, right? And we're just fed up with it. People are so tired of overspending, spending what, $800 to $1,200 per month for these monthly payments on these things, only for a lesser quality product.
That's how it starts. You get a little
paint peeling on his car.
Chip, it looks like a chip, but it's actually a flake.
Is becoming common for Ed Rinkowitz.
See how it's flaking right here? See that flake?
While he wishes this was some sort of flake, he says this is now his 3rd Hyundai where the paint has started to peel off.
My daughter's hood basically just flaked completely off. Probably maybe 10% of the paint was left on it. And then my wife's car started, and that was probably 30 to 40%. That was
Turkey producer is in the middle of a price fixing scandal. They've had to pay out settlements. $32 million here, $4 million there. I mean, this is kind of a cost of doing business when you are a big industrial food producer and you use your power to cash in. So we've been told a story that these crises, COVID and supply chain shocks, are at the root of inflation, of prices going up. But there's now pretty compelling evidence that corporate profits, their ability to take advantage of these crises to raise prices above where they need to be, is a major driver of inflation. Meaning
18.2 ounces. There's even a term for this. It's called downsizing or shrinkflation. And some say it's the nasty cousin of inflation. Hey, cousin! So as everyday items become more expensive, companies are trying to find sneaky ways to keep profits high. So if your pasta sauce goes from $4 to $5, of course, you'll notice. But if the price stays the same and the bottle just gets 10 or 20% smaller, chances are we won't even notice. And this has been happening a lot lately. Costco toilet paper sells for about $20, and it used to be 30 rolls with 425 sheets per roll. Now it's still $20, it's still 30 rolls, but it's only 380 sheets per roll. It's been happening with the Ziploc bags, chips, and my favorite—
This year's egg. Yes. This is the egg.
A case of shrinkflation and called out Cadbury's on TV. The standard version of the egg had clearly shrunk, yet in the FAQs on the Cadbury's website at the time, in answer to why the size had changed, it said, "It hasn't, you've just grown up." Take Skippy peanut butter, for instance. The price of these 2 tubs is the same, and you wouldn't immediately tell, unless you look at the weight, that you're getting less peanut butter for the same price. But if you turn the jar over, you'll see the indentation, which allows them to give you 8 ounces less peanut butter, while making you think you're getting the same. That's a 17% decrease.
Basically, every big tech company follows the exact same pattern, something that a guy called Cory Doctorow summarized really well with the term Shitafication. See, when any of these companies first start, their only chance of succeeding is to go above and beyond for their users by solving a key problem. Let's take Uber, for example. Uber came in 2009, and I remember first using it around that time and thinking, this is the end for traditional taxis. We're a public company, which means that the decisions aren't being made by one potentially passionate founder, but instead just many, many shareholders. And because shareholders aren't usually as invested in the long-term health of the business, they just want the business to burn quick money so that they can cash out, their objectives often boil down to, how do we make the users pay up until the absolute limit of what they're willing to, but just not past it? And then how do we pay the suppliers the absolute least that they're willing to take, but just not less than it? So this is what that Shitafication looks like in practice. And it all starts with tiering, splitting the base service up into multiple tiers, all at different price points. And on the face of it, that sounds great. Like on Uber, for example, it means that you can now get priority if you want faster, comfort, which is newer cars with more legroom, exec, which is high-end cars with top-rated drivers, and then lux, which is the very, very top end. Think about it. Now that they offer all of these options, what happens when you're just getting a normal Uber now? You get extremely long wait times because no driver who can charge exec prices is going to take a ride for normal prices. You get all the drivers who don't qualify for high-rated service and all the cars that don't count as new enough for comfort. And trust me when I say the requirements for comfort are not very high. Amazon sucks right now. Uber sucks right now. Netflix sucks. Facebook sucks. Instagram sucks. Every big tech company is changing in front of our very eyes.
That the more you focus on the visuals of your film, the more you tend to neglect everything else around it. These days, there's an over-reliance on spectacle and scale to draw audiences in, and it ends up becoming a crutch for bad writing and lack of creativity. Audiences start to become jaded and disinterested in what Hollywood has to offer. Another big problem with so much money at stake is studio interference. I've lost track of the number of films that have been derailed and ruined because the studio started to get jittery about the filmmaker's creative vision and decided to stick their oar in with endless test screenings, last-minute rewrites and mandatory reshoots to produce something more commercially viable.
However, what a lot of consumers don't... Alright, so today is July 10th. 2024. And down here, you can see this is how I found it. It's loose, and I mean back in there, you're looking at the house and water, or the ice and water shield, which is a code requirement. That's good, you know. So water can still get in here. Well, this is loose. This is how I found it. Where the birds are going to get in. And when you cut your lines here on this fascia, you don't overlap them like that. This is very sloppy. Very, very sloppy. See it? That's the nail head. It's out of its pattern. This is supposed to be underneath the shingle here. And this is somebody not paying attention when they're just whacking it in with their air guns. Let me show you another one on the back side here. Again, nail heads, they need to get sealed up. Some silicone. And then, once again, it's a gable, and this is cut too short. It just slides right over. Look at this. This is going to be taken by the wind. Wow. And then this should have been cut a little bit lower down on an angle. Then they just put some silicone in there. As you can see, it's not even completely covered all the way. Look at that. I don't even know if there's a support underneath there to anchor it to. Okay, here you have it. I'm in the garage attic looking over that front porch. This is that soffit material, just like I suspected. There's nothing to secure that in that area. They didn't shore it up or anything. Look at that washout. Starts there, flushes it through, missing soil. And you wonder why driveways settle? That's why. I'm gonna stick my hand right under there. Under here, all missing. This goes pretty far. Oh man, look at that. That's how far my hand is going in there. There's a lot of soil missing. This cannot be turned off. That valve is up against the wall. This is improperly installed. It doesn't turn the other way. It only goes towards the wall. So you can't even shut this valve off. That's problem number one. Problem number two is I smell gas. So let's do a little test on some gas leakage. This is the quality that you're getting. Paint and mud. Now it's cosmetic. There's nothing in the code book for it. But I don't know if I would spend this kind of money on drywall mudding. me show you some other close-up areas in this one right there. Now you see it, now you don't. Let's go take a look. And now, this is a flat, neutral color, and
It's how we buy, it's how often we buy. And for that, we can kind of blame this man.
Ernest Elmo, yeah, incredible name. In the 1930s, during the Great Depression, he wrote this paper that was like, okay, like the government should really like support this idea of planned obsolescence.
Except he didn't call it planned obsolescence. He called it consumer engineering.
Called Grace bags. And the story goes that Grace, a kind-hearted elderly woman, has been handcrafting beautiful leather bags for years. But it's the end of an era for Grace, so she's holding her farewell sale.
Grace is offering up to 80% off in her farewell sale. Once they're gone for good. Don't miss out.
I thought, oh, how nice. And then I kept scrolling, but the sponsored ads kept popping up trying to reel me back in. And I thought, you know, maybe I ought to check these out. But then I started to get a little suspicious about this Grace woman. Wait a minute, is she even real? I take her photo over to siteengine.com, which is able to detect whether or not an image is made from AI. And it turns out this picture is. Wait, what? There's no Grace?